Barnes & Noble Union Square, please give a warm welcome to best-selling author Mona Awad and Barnes & Noble Miwa Messer.
So, hello, New York. I'm Miwa Messer. I'm the producer and host of Poured Over, and Mona Awad needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm a fan, just like all of you. Fifth novel in, and you guys, all of you readers, guess who's back? We love you, Bunny. And I have to say, I've been reading Mona for a minute, and I know you guys have been reading Mona for a minute as well. I was not expecting Bunnies to come back, so we're going to do something a little different from our usual taping, and Mona is going to read a tiny bit, and then we're going to jump into a conversation. So.
Yes, thank you so much, Miwa. I'm so honored. Thank you, Barnes & Noble, for hosting us tonight. And yeah, thank you to my Simon & Schuster team for being here. And thank you all, my readers. I'm so thrilled that you're here with me, helping me launch the book. So yeah, I'm just going to read a little bit from the opening. So in this book, Sam, who is the hero of Bunny, has written a book called Bunny. And the bunnies are pissed, and they kidnap her while she's on book tour. And they tie her up in one of the bunnies' attics, and they proceed to tell her how she got them all wrong. And so they take turns doing so. So I'm just going to read you a little bit from Cupcake's narrative. Hi there, Bunny, remember me? So clever of you, truly, to reduce me to a baked good. So funny that you described me as a maniacal hair braider, or what was it again? A child of the corn going to prom? I'm not going to comment further on your novel, We Agreed to Not, except to say that when I perused it during a rehearsal break, I'm back in theater now, by the way. Oh, it's very lucrative. I laughed until I cried blood. So funny how you let your imagination just run away with you like that. How you really don't know anything at all about me or us or even like reality, really. I'll just hang on to the axe while we talk. Is that okay with you? I'll just get a bit closer to you physically also, so you can see my dress up close, the color of dreamy skyscapes tonight. Smell my lemony sugar smell, which I know turns you on a little, Bunny, don't deny it. In your novel, which I won't mention again ever, you even said you wanted to eat me when you first saw me, didn't you? I knew that. Could sense your hunger, both writerly and sexual, from the start. Could see it in your crazy eyes, through your bitchy hair curtain, black as night, and it explains so much. It's why I didn't take any of your lies about me or your very bad prose personally, not at all. I took it instead as a very elaborate, yet ultimately crude fan fiction. Let me get even closer to you now so we can whisper, just you and me, if need be. So you can look right into my anime eyes while I set some things straight, as it were. About how it all started, Bunny. Before the boys, before the axe, before the magic of this attic was made known to us, before we were even made known to one another. I actually fought to be the first one to tell because, believe it or not, and on this point we sometimes disagree, it all began with me, actually. Yes, me, Coraline. It began with me, Coraline. What a Herculean effort you made to disguise my real name, by the way. Thank you.
So if I remember this correctly, you wrote Rouge while you were on tour for Bunny.
Yes.
And I'm kind of wondering if We Love You, Bunny may have come out of the tour for Rouge.
Yeah,
Okay.
it actually did.
Okay.
I was working on We Love You, Bunny while I was touring for Rouge. In fact, the minute I handed it in, actually, Rouge, I started working on We Love You, Bunny. Yeah.
you really did miss this world, didn't you? You really wanted to get back to campus.
Yeah, I really did. I really did. When I finished writing Bunnies, something very funny happened to me, which is that I just missed it so much when I turned it in. It felt awful. I didn't feel like, oh, yay, you finished a thing. I felt like, oh, God, you lost this thing. And then when I wrote All's Well and I wrote Rouge, the same thing did happen to me.
Right.
But Bunny never left me, really. And so, yeah, I just kept dreaming about it. And I think a couple of years after Bunny came out, it started to kind of have a new life online, and readers were finding it, and they were generating art, out of the story and expanding the universe of it. So they kind of gave me permission. You gave me permission to go back to it. Yeah.
One of the things I loved about Bunny, and sometimes when you're a bookseller, you get to read things very, very far in advance, and other times your schedule doesn't let you do all of the things. And so I remember reading Bunny about 8,000 years ago, roughly before, sometime between candles and the electric lamp being invented, maybe gas lamps, anyway. But the voice stuck with me from that first reading, and I wasn't entirely sure how I felt about the bunnies, but I could not shake them. Yeah. Sam, of course, I had a little more kind of, oh, right, I know who you are.
Yeah.
And all of the things that you were doing, I mean, the genre breaking, the playfulness of it all, this, we've got dark academia, we've got satire, we've got the Gothic and horror, which are two separate things. Yes, can we just agree that Gothic novels and horror novels are not that? Thank you very much. Lots of heads bobbing. Thank you for that. But you're doing all of these things, and then I get cut glass sentences, and I'm like, oh, I get all of the things.
Thank you.
Voice, though. Yeah. That's the thing that's always sort of front of mind for you, right?
Yeah, that's kind of usually how I work. I'll usually hear a voice, and then I'll just go with that voice. Like Sam's voice for Bunny, I would text it to myself when I first started getting a sense of how I would tell the story. All of her rage, and all of her grievances would come to me, and I would text them to myself. And she felt very, very alive to me. And then the same thing happened with the bunnies. I was nervous about breaking them open, which is what this book does. We sort of go behind the monolith of pastel, and we get to kind of know each one of them individually. And I didn't know if I could do that. I didn't know if I could go from the we to the I with each one. But when I did, it was so delicious, because I realized each one of them is kind of vulnerable in her own way that I didn't really know before. And that was really, really fun to kind of be inside of each bunny's delusion. Was so fun. Yeah.
Delusion being the key word, because you have a thing for unreliable narrators, which I appreciate.
Yes.
And the idea that the bunnies sort of have this vision of themselves as, creatives and the leaders and all of this kind of thing. And the bunnies kind of don't really know themselves all that well. And I appreciate that tension between bunny, pick a bunny, right? Thinking they're telling me the truth about themselves, about a situation, and then I'm like, ooh, you have not the first clue.
Yes, no, totally. I mean, that was the really fun thing about this book, is they had an agenda. They wanted to correct Sam's characterization of them in the previous novel, and tell the story of how they're really great fucking creators. They made some great shit, some great boys. And tell the story of this. This is not a spoiler, I don't think, but tell the story of their first creation, And so that was their collective agenda.
Right.
But they also had individual agendas. Like, they wanted to make an individual claim. I'm the one, Bunny, not her, who is responsible for the magic that we do together. It's me. I'm the artist. And that was really fun. Having them subvert each other's narratives was just such a delight. Yeah.
It feels like a tonal change, too, from Bunny to We Love You, Bunny. And not just because we're going from sort of that first person, Sam's the ultimate outsider, figuring it all out kind of thing, to a Greek chorus of bunnies.
Yeah.
Because the bunnies are not I think this is where we're going to have to bring in Frankenstein, because I may
Yeah.
have yelped a little bit when I realized what you were doing and how you were doing it, and in the best possible way. Bunny, what do we want to call him? Is he a draft?
Oh no, I don't think
he's the original.
I think he's the original.
Okay.
Yeah. He's the first man.
He is. Yes, he is the first man, but also with the name of an antihistamine.
Yeah, no, a Canadian allergy medication. I named him after that because it sounds kind of mythic. Aries.
It does.
Yeah, and it's like Aries and it's like Eros. Sounds like the name of a god, but not quite. I wanted it to be very like of this world.
It's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
It's
I love
kind of
Aries so much. I'm still in love. I haven't fallen out of love yet. Yeah.
I can see that, but watching him learn how to read and learn how to figure out what poetries is or isn't.
They are terrible trees.
And also falling in love.
Yeah.
And all sorts of things. I mean, it's the emojis, I will say, threw me a little bit, and then I really got into them. But the emojis, I had a moment of, oh yeah, actually, it makes perfect sense that this character who's learning how to be in the world, right, in this moment, is going to be a freak for emojis. And when I think about my overuse of emojis in my daily life, if anyone had ever told me that I would even use one emoji, let alone this ridiculous range.
Yeah. I love them.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it might be just working with the bunnies, but I really love them. And that's why he uses them, because, they're his mothers. So
they are his mothers, but you're also creating someone who doesn't. The bunnies to me are. There's a bit of Belle from Rouge in the bunnies. There's a bit of Elizabeth from 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl. There's a little bit of Helen from All's Well and the students in All's Well. Like, there is thematically work that is consistent. And then we get him, and I'm just like, I know he's the first bunny, and I know he's the first of all of this, but he is really unique in the Mona Awad world.
Yeah, you're right.
How did you know when you had his voice, though? Because, I mean, you don't want him to sort of be the lump of clay, right? You don't want him to be that.
No.
But if he turns out to be the perfect man, then we're kind of in trouble.
Totally. Yeah, no, I was very afraid. I mean, when I wrote this book, I knew I was going to structure it after Frankenstein. I knew it was going to have multiple narrators and multiple audiences. And that it would be the story from the creator's perspective first, and then we would hear from the creation, which is the thing I love about Frankenstein, that the monster's narrative kind of subverts, undermines, challenges the creator's narrative, and then we wonder who the monster really is, right? Which is what I definitely wanted to play with in this book. And I was very comfortable writing the bunnies. I mean, they were just so much fun. But I was afraid, because I knew I wanted to write this bunny boy's voice. When I got to him, I didn't know if I could do it or not. And I had COVID when I first started trying to write it, and thank God, because I think it turned off my more critical faculties, the voice that says, I don't know if you should go down this road. And I just kind of paid attention, and I put in the smileys and frownies. And I had fun, and he actually kind of came fully formed, and he did feel like such a gift. He really did. And I knew some things about him. Like, I knew I wanted him to I wanted it to have a children's story kind of feel, because he's an innocent. He comes from a bunny, But I also wanted him to feel dangerously playful. So like Clockwork Orange, that kind of style of narration was an inspiration too. And then Jane Eyre, because I love that direct address to the reader. And for the bunnies, Jane Eyre is like a holy text.
Right.
So of course it would inform, his voice. Yeah.
Okay, but Jane Eyre also walks that sort of gothic-y line, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's... I don't mind when that pops up, and I certainly... Wide Sargasso Sea, the Jean Rhys novel, is something
I'm obsessed with Jean Rhys.
Jean Rhys, every time I see echoes of her, anyway, and I hold her closer to Jane Eyre, actually, than I do a Brontë, which just shows you that I came to something late.
Yeah. No, but me too. I do too, yeah.
But that kind of darkness and that kind of... not darkness in a bad sense, but that sort of raised an eyebrow, who do I trust?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I love that.
Who do I trust? And I mean, I have to say, I don't trust anyone in this book, but I had a really good time hanging out with them.
Yep. You can trust Darius. Yeah. I want you to trust Darius. You can trust Jonah.
Jonah is a lovely character. I mean,
Yeah.
I was kind of happy to see him bop back up.
Me too.
I wasn't necessarily expecting to see the lion again. Ursula, I knew, had to swing through.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't trust Ursula.
That was a
Yeah,
bad choice of
that's
words.
for
Yeah. Ursula, and we saw another side to the lion in this book. Jonah,
Yes.
Jonah I can trust.
Pony, you can trust Pony.
Pony had some big feelings, man. I was
Pony
not
had a lot of
expecting Pony to
feelings.
have all of those big feelings.
Yeah, I loved Pony.
How many of you have had a chance to even look at this book
Yeah,
while you were waiting
we're
for us
talking about
to...
Pony. I don't
okay,
even know if
because
I-
I'm having a moment
Yeah.
of like we're trying to obviously stay significantly
Yes.
spoiler free.
That's right.
But there is such a sense of play
Yeah.
in this book, and yes, some terrible things happen, but that's the fun of it.
Yes.
But a couple
is
of
a
people
slasher.
have asked why bunnies, and I
Why bunnies?
personally find bunnies kind of funny no matter what. But
Yeah.
why bunnies?
Well, I mean, I love that it's a term of endearment, and it's kind of like an old school one, you
Yep.
know? It feels very cliquey. And also, there are just tons of bunnies on campus.
Right.
You know, when I was a student actually at the University of Denver when I started thinking about writing this book. And I remember I kind of had it cooking at the back of my head. And the idea felt so crazy. I mean, I couldn't tell anybody about it and keep a straight face. So I wasn't sure if I should even try it, you know. And then I remember I saw a bunny like hop across campus right then. And I thought, oh yeah, the bunny wants me to do it, so I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite bunny? Of
Yeah.
your bunnies?
Yeah, I love Cupcake the most.
Okay.
She's my favorite. Yeah.
Why?
Well, she has a razor in her razor blade in her dress pocket, of course, which I love. And I don't know, she's just so delusional, and that's so fun. I love a deluded character. Yeah, I relate to Cupcake. She just amuses me a great deal. Yeah.
I don't really want to sit next to her at dinner, but I'll listen to
Yeah.
her riff.
Yeah.
It's partially, you know, when you sit down next to someone and you're like, I don't know if you're going to murder me or entertain me.
Well, the Duchess I would be really afraid of because of her God complex.
Yeah.
That would be very hard. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But they are all hyper feminine. They are
Yeah.
all super girly,
Yes.
super girly in the way they speak, super girly in their view of the world, but also it's partially for them a power play.
Yes. Yes.
And they never really come on and say, well, they sort of hint at being ambitious, but not in the way that we think of creatives being ambitious. Like they'll say, well, you know, I thought a thing.
Right.
And part of victory for them is this idea that everyone's in agreement and they all agree with whichever bunny is leading in that moment.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, there is kind of a really, really intense hyper-feminine energy around them, and that was really purposeful. Kind of wanted to explore how that can feel monstrous, especially to somebody who is viewing them from the outside. But in this book, I also wanted it to feel really powerful,
Yeah.
because I think that it can be really powerful. You know, just because the bunnies wear pastels, it does not make them not powerful, right? Yeah, you can be very powerful and wear pastel. So that was definitely part of the draw, was actually to go deep into the hyper-feminine and kind of explore its power, but also of always, in every single book that I write, its shadow side too.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you think too about how women, for the most part, have been presented sort of historically.
Yeah.
Especially in a Gothic novel, right?
Yes,
Like, here's
yes.
this idea, right, that you're the damsel in distress. You need to be
Yes.
rescued somehow.
Yes.
And you are not necessarily, unless you are about to end up in an Angela Carter short story, you are not about to rescue yourself.
No. She's the best.
She is the best.
Yeah,
We're going
I
to come
love
back to
her.
her in a second.
Yeah.
But this whole sort of push me, pull me between muse and creator, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like, oh, wait a minute, the girls are creating.
Yeah,
Right?
and they desire very, very aggressively, which was exciting to write. It was exciting to write their very just ardent desire, which, I mean, I can also relate to, not just as a human,
Right.
you know, when you desire something, but also just as an artist. When you're making something and you're excited by it, you kind of want to possess it, but you can't. It's not yours to hold. And that was the thing that I think that was kind of the heartbreak, I think, of the book, is they all love him, but they ultimately can't possess him, you know? Yeah.
So, what was your favorite part of writing We Love You, Bunny?
My favorite part of writing We Love You, Bunny? I think occupying the different bunnies' heads and then the jump into Arius's consciousness, going
Right.
from the bunnies' collective kind of idea of what happened and then subverting that with Eyre's, because ultimately the bunnies are subverting Sam's story, right? They're undermining Bunny with their account of things. But then I loved being able to undermine their account with Arius's story. He's probably my favorite. Yeah, I have to say.
The balancing act that you pull off, I mean, because, you know, we have Sam's lens in the first book. And again, sort of this sort of classically outsider,
Yes.
like, what am I doing here? What is with the pink? What is with the pink?
She hates that.
I mean, she's Sam, right? Like,
Yeah.
we know who this girl is.
Yeah.
But then flipping to this much bigger set of voice. I mean,
Yeah.
Ursula gets a much longer play.
Yeah, as she should.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for all of that.
Yeah.
The lion is smarter than I thought he was.
Yes. That was a revelation to me, too.
He was much.
Yeah.
Because I had feelings about him from the last book, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, dude, of course we've met you. Like, you're that guy."
Yeah.
He's really much smarter than I thought.
Yeah. Sure he is.
Okay. Well,
Sure.
okay. It's that
Yeah.
it's that conversation he has with you know who towards the end, where he's like,
Oh, yeah.
of course."
Yeah, that's a good
The
moment.
that's actually the moment where he convinced me that he was smarter
Yeah.
than
Me too.
I
That's
thought
when
he
he
was.
convinced me too.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what else surprised you when you were writing this?
Oh, so many things surprised me. I mean, the ending surprised me so much. There are some twists, Bunny. And they were really fun. They were a shock to me, too. So that was really fun. I think, you know, I don't think this is too much of a spoiler, but I
Yeah.
love that my creation has his own creation. That was really fun. So making that discovery, it's a toy pony. It was amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it was really just, honestly, the structure of this book. I knew they were going to tell the story of their creation, but I didn't really know how it was going to unfold or what he was going to do,
Right.
what kind of threat he was going to be, because you know, I just wanted to see where the story would take me. So everything was kind of a surprise. It really was. I didn't really pre-plan it. Yeah.
The bunnies, though, we know they are control freaks.
Yes.
Respectfully,
yes.
the bunnies are control freaks.
Totally.
And watching them try to revise.
Yes. Yeah.
The first time they're trying their revisions, and it's not quite taking.
No.
And it really is a moment that's very distressing
Yes.
for them.
Yes. Revision is very violent. Yeah. It can feel very violent. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to bring your work into it, like your.
Sure.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
you and I have talked about this in the past, too, where the bulk of your writing comes from the revision and the reworking. But here you are in a world that you know, that you were not necessarily planning on coming back to.
Yeah.
There are some classic Mona Awad moments in this book. But you're still in a place where you can surprise yourself. You're still in a place where maybe one or two characters haven't fully appeared the way you might want.
Right.
So what does revision look like when you do have a different kind of grounding in the world?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Because normally what I'll do when I write a book is I'll write the first draft very quickly, and I'll just try to get the energy of the story down. And then in the revision is kind of I'm layering it, and I'm adding more dimensionality. For the first draft, I'm just trying to catch that spark of life that I feel and just follow it and try to just get that down. That feels so important to do. And then I kind of, I add layers and I add dimension in the revisions. I do make discoveries with plot, but with this book, I would say that didn't really happen in the same way. The first draft was pretty fully formed, but I did it in 2 separate periods of time because I did get blocked at one point. Yeah.
I think I didn't know that part of the story.
Yeah, I did get blocked, I think about like halfway through where I just wasn't sure where it was all leading to, and then it came to me when I wasn't thinking about it consciously.
But you don't necessarily write in a linear fashion, right?
No, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yes,
okay.
I do. Yeah.
Oh. So
Yeah.
had you found Arius's voice?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
so we're sort of are we literally at the half point when you
More than halfway. More than halfway. Yeah. I mean, and which is at that point usually the story just kind of keeps going. I had
Okay.
such an easy ride for the first like 2/3 that I was almost suspicious. But there's
okay.
always some kind of crisis of confidence that happens to me, always. So I think it just, of course it happens. And then, I just had to kind of step away and then come back.
Okay.
And have a revelation. Yeah.
Outlining too. There's a question about outlining in the whole
Oh.
process. I mean, I know you start with voice and character,
Yeah.
usually not blocked 3/4 of the way through.
No.
You do
But that
write-
happened with Bunny. I was blocked
Oh,
with
it
Bunny.
did? Okay.
Exactly the same point. I got
Huh.
blocked. Yeah, and I had to put it aside, and I actually thought I was going to quit the novel because I couldn't figure it out.
Okay, thank you for not quitting the novel.
Yeah. So I was so insecure about it. I really thought I would never finish. But then I did, like a couple of months
Okay.
later, yeah.
So you write in a
Yeah.
linear fashion, but do you outline?
I kind of bullet,
Okay.
like maybe the first third, just so I kind of have a runway for where I'm going.
Yep.
And then that usually kind of creates a shape that I can then follow, scene by scene. Because I actually really like to write like the scenes in order, just so that I'm kind of in it. I like being as in it as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
It also seems, at least having read you more than once for a while, that it helps sustain the narrative tension
Yeah.
and the forward momentum. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I really
it-
love that. Yeah, I do love that. I love kind of being in the moment with the characters, and not writing ahead. Even if I have a scene that I'm really excited about, I like kind of writing towards that scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you civilizing your characters then, the way the bunnies are
Maybe I
civilizing the
am.
boys?
Yeah, maybe I am.
Okay.
I don't know. Or maybe I'm just being patient with them. If there's like something that I'm not quite sure about, I kind of wait until they tell me. Buy them flowers, etc.
So, okay. Okay. So you are channeling them.
Yeah,
To a
that's
certain
how it
extent.
feels.
I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
It does seem to me that there's a little bit of you just trust the process.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure the bunnies know how to trust the process.
they don't. They're very anxious creators. They're over-controlling.
they
Yeah.
also care a little too much about what other people think.
Yes, they do.
And
That's true.
that seems like a really rough way
Yes.
to go through
Right.
the whole process, right?
Yes.
I mean, we meet them, we meet this new iteration of the Bunnies, and they have just met the Lion for the first time, and he's had some constructive criticism for some pieces that they've written in. Man,
Yeah.
that does not go over well.
No, they don't know how to take feedback.
They are just
Yeah.
furious. They're absolutely furious. And
Which
I'm
I
thinking,
understand.
Yeah.
It's hard, It's hard to take feedback. Yeah.
But they kind of, I suspect that other people can perhaps hold the feedback closer without, I don't know, losing their minds completely.
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I think inside, who knows?
All right, well, you have said in the past that MFA programs are kind of the perfect fodder for horror novels. So,
They are.
I mean,
They
fair.
really, truly are.
You've also said that you wouldn't have written either bunny novel had you not been Canadian, which I think might be shorthand for I was an outsider at U.S. colleges.
Yeah. Maybe.
But
Yeah.
I want to play with this for a second because there's this idea, right, that we're all on one giant continent and there's not a whole lot of
Yeah.
difference. But I think there is
Yeah.
a swing and a shift
I think there is a
culturally.
difference. Yeah.
And also, you were a very goth kid in the 90s in Toronto, which I like this image quite a lot.
Yes, I really was. And yeah, it was hard. It was kind of a real shift. Like this, the whole concept of Ivy League. I mean, I had no idea what that
Right.
was. And even when I was an instructor at some of these colleges, students would tell me, oh, I went to XYZ. And I was like, okay. Like it was supposed to mean something. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'll make a note of that. But yeah, I mean, it was just a whole world that I didn't understand. And that was very useful.
Right.
Because I really was a fish out of water and I could write from that perspective. So that was really fun.
But
Yeah.
weren't you also one of those kids that was just always noticing the things around you?
Yes.
I mean, you just always have gotten the detail. I mean, that's part of the fun, right? When you're reading one of Mona's novels, that there's always a detail that just pops. I mean, I'm kind of laughing because part of what you read I had pulled out, and I was like, if I can work it into the script, I will. There she is reading the whole thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is great. But there's always that line
Yeah.
where I'm kind of like, that just sounds like something you've been rolling around thinking about.
Yeah.
And when you are that much of a fish, so Sam, for instance, on the periphery of everything, but then there are the bunnies saying, well, of course it's mine,
Right.
right? Like that difference alone,
Yes.
where you're like, huh.
Yes.
But you also don't subscribe to the myth of the outsider.
Well, because I think, like RuPaul, that that everybody is an outsider.
Right.
That's how everyone feels
Right.
inside. Nobody actually feels like they belong. And it's also a dynamic thing, like it shifts. Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't feel as outside. Sometimes you feel very outside. But Sam's whole mythology about herself is that she's outside, and to some degree, she's holding on to that to survive.
Yeah.
It's a way that she can feel maybe a little special. You know what I mean? But the bunnies, they all feel outside too. And that was the most delicious part about writing the book, is kind of realizing that they all don't feel like they belong in this thing, even though they appear from the outside that they love each other so fucking much. Maybe they don't. Or maybe they do, but it's complicated, Yeah.
And when the bunnies decide a thing, right? Like
Yeah.
whatever that thing is, where they agree, and maybe it's a point about a book, maybe it's a point about a person, maybe it's something they all want. That coming together is it's sort of that adolescent intensity, that sort of fraught intimacy.
Yes. That's an MFA.
Oh,
Fraught intimacy.
Okay.
Yes.
Good to know.
Yeah.
How does anyone? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. I'm gonna go ahead this way. But I want to come back to the bunnies because this to me rolls into the idea that the bunnies think they know themselves better than they actually do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not. It goes beyond being unreliable.
Sure. Yeah, they're deluded. Yeah. Yeah. which is really fun. Well, I think the thing that's happening maybe is, for those of you who have read Bunny, when you read We Love You, Bunny, the experience of it will be a trip, because you'll have Sam's perspective of them. And so you probably won't, well, you'll probably read the Bunny's perspective with some suspicion. But my hope is that you kind of become enchanted. As I became enchanted by each of them as I was writing them. I was genuinely enchanted, even though they still terrify me, because groups have always terrified me.
The first time I read We Love You, Bunny, I did it in a single sitting. And this is, not a short book. Totally worth doing it in a single sitting, if you can. I may have canceled dinner plans on someone. I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to finish reading. Charmed was not the word I would use to describe my relationship with the Bunnies, but I couldn't look away.
Yeah.
I absolutely could not look away, because I didn't know how surprised I was going to be by them. I mean, I figured you would throw some curves my way. Again, I've read all of the novels, so I'm just like, okay, I know a thing is probably coming my way. But I got really invested in them.
That's good.
And I really wanted to understand what they thought was coming next. I was also slightly surprised that you sort of plopped us right into this moment. And we meet Cupcake's mother.
Yeah.
But we don't necessarily need to meet all of the people who made the Bunnies the Bunnies.
No. Yeah.
Which I kind of loved. I felt like I was in this weird little bubble of a world where, again, and Cupcake's mother to me was that kind of shorthand.
Yeah.
Where you get a sentence and I'm like, oh, I know who that woman is. Oh.
Yeah. Picnic Lightning.
Oh,
Right.
I know
It's
who you are.
Nabokov. It's Lolita. Yeah.
Love it. But I'm wondering, how has working in academia affected your writing?
Well, it's made me even more certain that it's fodder for horror novels. That's what it's done. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I just have a lot of fun with how cliquey it can feel, how it always still feels like high school, no matter how old you get. Even if you're a teacher, you still feel like you're in high school when you're in academia. And then just the cloistered environment, and it always feels kind of occult, special, in ways that feel dark, that don't feel good always. And I think, I had a lot of fun with that, I mean, it kind of satirizes academia, even though, I don't know where I would be without going to those schools, honestly. I don't know if I would have finished my first book. So I have a lot of gratitude, and I think that that's in there, but I can't help but make fun of it.
Right.
Can't help that, yeah.
But at the risk of sounding like Queen of the Obvious for a second, don't we need the dark bits to get to the...
Yes,
we need
absolutely.
all of the pieces, right? We need to be able to poke fun. I mean, I love being a bookseller. There are things I will make fun of.
Of course.
Not here, but, I will do it. And if we can't keep an open eye on what we're part of, then the thing just kind of repeats itself, and then we're all kind of like, how are we here again?
Right.
Right? One of the things that I love very, very much about both Bunny and We Love You, Bunny, is that the voice is so sticky. It's so sticky and so
Thank
you, and yet I understand the larger context.
Yeah.
I understand all of the things that feed into this world of Bunny.
Right.
And whether that's other books, other writers, Nabokov, Clockwork Orange, I did start to reread, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe not in this moment, but I will come back to you. And I think that happens for all of us, right? We come back to something that maybe we read possibly earlier than we might have otherwise. Listen, I finally read Pride and Prejudice a couple of months ago for an interview.
Did you like it?
I was shocked by how much I did.
Yeah,
it turns out Darcy is not a drip.
Yeah.
Y'all did not warn me that Darcy is not a drip. I'm glad I did it. I'm not sure I'm ready to do the rest of the books. Though I did buy a giant anthology that has all 6 together. I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a thing,
Yeah,
I'm
you
going
got
to
to
do
do
a
it.
thing.
Yeah.
I'm just not totally sure that I'm going to do a thing.
Okay.
But I love the idea that Jane Eyre feeds into the Bunnies, that Virginia Woolf and the Waves feeds into the Bunnies, or Clockwork Orange. All of these things. Which brings me to Margaret Atwood. You have a pretty great relationship with Margaret Atwood.
Yes.
She has influenced you. You have influenced her. I love the idea that your work could be in conversation with a lot of her early work. How many of you have read Margaret Atwood outside of The Handmaid's Tale? Okay, so you guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Very
like,
cool.
there is a lot of early Atwood that reads a little bit more, not necessarily fully into Angela Carter, but like there's that genre bending, what's happening, ooh, and I get cut glass sentences, right?
Yeah.
Like, can't we have both? Like, can't we blow up genre and also have great sentences, please?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I loved Margaret Atwood maybe for that reason. You know, I mean, I loved her poetry as a teenager, but her early novels are incredible. Like, I highly, highly recommend Lady Oracle, Edible Woman. They're brilliant. They're super dark, but they're playful. They're always playful, and they do kind of engage fairy tale, but they do it in a way that amplifies the real conflict that the character is going through, which is kind of how I like to use those genre elements and the surreal. Yeah.
I love a good story well told.
Yeah.
But I do need a little bit of dark. I'm
me
not
too.
good with fluffy.
Yeah.
I live in the world, and I would like someone to explain the world to me, please. But I need that edge, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can be playful and have an edge, right? Like, we don't have to always have, I don't necessarily need to like the characters that I'm reading about, but I need to be invested.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too.
Right?
Me too.
And
yeah.
Atwood does that. You obviously do that.
Thank you.
I hadn't read Angela Carter in a really long time, and so I reread the titular story in The Bloody Chamber.
It's so good.
Yep, right?
Yeah.
And so for all of you who like the sort of the mythological retellings, because we are having a moment, Angela Carter, The Bloody Chamber, it's a paperback,
brilliant.
it's a collection of stories.
Yeah.
If you've missed it, there's an edition that even has an introduction by Kelly Link.
It's pretty cool.
But reading that story, I was just like, oh, right. And it had been a minute since I'd read Angela Carter. So again, this is part of the fun, right? Like, you pick up a book, you sit with that world for a minute, and then you go chasing down a rabbit hole. It is awesome. It's so good. It is the best part of being a bookseller, I think. But can we talk about other influences that got us to you, Mona Awad, writer, professor, human in the world?
Influences. Well, I love David Lynch, and I love the way that David Lynch uses the surreal in his films. And I love that nothing is explained. To me, that's what makes it powerful, you know? Really, the surreal to me is kind of a language to articulate something that we can't articulate. It's like a language of symbols that we use to do that. So I love watching his films and kind of taking inspiration from how they move, you know, so organically. I love fairy tales, of course. I love Hans Christian Andersen. He's probably my favorite fairy tale writer. And I think the reason I love him is because he really loves to occupy the consciousness of his characters. Like, he is the Little Mermaid, you know? And it's just so heartbreaking because he does that. Like, the Grimms are great, but they sort of look down at their characters. They're sort of narrating from above. But Hans Christian Andersen is right there with the Little Mermaid in the water, wanting a soul. And I just think that's so beautiful. And I love Oscar Wilde. You know, Picture of Dorian Gray is probably one of my favorite novels of all time. And I love his plays because they're just so funny. I love his wit. So, yeah, probably those three.
One of the things I've always appreciated about your work, too, is the humor. I mean, because I'm all for the relentless march through whatever novel might be happening. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. Sometimes the mood is the mood, right? Like if you're reading for vibes, sometimes you want the thing.
Right.
But you always make me laugh. And to have that breathing room, right? I get to sit with what you're saying a little longer. And it's not like I want to race through I didn't want to race through this book at all. I couldn't stop reading. And there's a difference, right? Like sometimes you need to know, and I was just like, wait a minute, I don't want to leave this world. Even to run the dishwasher. But how did it feel to come back? I know, it was a joyful experience to write Bunny the first time around.
Was, yeah.
But you'd gone from Bunny to All's Well and then Rouge, right?
Rouge,
there were
yeah.
two
Which
novels
was
in
very
between.
dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which Rouge had its moments.
Yeah.
It had plenty of laugh out loud moments. All's Well, a little less laugh out loud funny. But how did it feel to come back to that balance of humor and I don't want to call it bleakness. It's not bleak. It is, but it is that darkness. It is that intensity.
In Rouge?
Well, I feel like We Love You, Bunny is a step up from Rouge in terms of humor,
funnier,
the mix of humor
for sure.
and sort of the intense darkness.
Yeah. I guess there were some pretty, there's some dark moments in We Love You, Bunny, but overall, I would say the tone is playful dark. It's playful dark, which is kind of what I love. I love, if I'm in the dark, I want to have a sense of play about it, because to me, that's the only way I can get to, the truth, is if I have, a sense of fun. And I think that happened to me in my first book,
Right.
writing one of the most difficult stories in that book, 13 Ways of Looking at a Fat Girl. There was one story I could never get right about a mother and a daughter, and it wasn't until I introduced a sense of play that I was able to capture the tension between them, the darkness, as it were, by just focusing on a stupid pair of shoes and describing them. I could get there. And that felt such an important discovery. And so now I kind of always remember that. Yes, I do tend to go into the darkness, but I go with a sense of play so that I can get to the truth. Yeah.
Play is so powerful. I mean, we take it for granted. We overlook it. We don't take it seriously. And especially sometimes in fiction, right? We sort of push it to the side and say that belongs elsewhere. And, one of the things that I love about reading and one of the things I love about books is that we get to say, hey, come hang out with us. Come try something new. Come sit with something that might actually turn out to be a little more profound than you were expecting, right? Because we snuck it in because it was funny.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be laugh out loud. I mean, it's nice if it is, but we have these moments where we get to actually make a point and let it stick because you were surprised.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you were playing on the page.
Right, exactly, exactly.
I have to ask, have you started a new thing? I know we're just putting We Love You, Bunny out into the world today, but...
Yeah, I have. I really loved working with Shakespeare for All's Well, and I have an obsession with Twelfth Night, so I'm kind of revisiting. I love that everybody's in love with the wrong person in that play. It's so fun to me. So yeah, this new book is kind of it's a dark romantic bookstore comedy that plays with Twelfth Night.
Oh, this is good. See,
Yeah.
I'm not the only person
Yeah.
who's excited about this.
Yeah.
But that said, we do have a lot of folks who'd like to get their books signed. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say thank you, Mona Awad.
Thank you.
I'm going to say
all.
thank you, New York.
Thank you.
Thank you. Give us a couple.
Thank you for listening. Poured Over is a Barnes & Noble production. To help other readers find us, please rate and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.